our starting material is a solid, and our product is a liquid. Okay. We do not want to try to put a solid into the NMR tube, so instead we are going to make up our sample in a test tube. So I am pouring my solid into a test tube. I could probably make up the liquid sample right in the NMR tube, but I might as well do it this way. So this is labeled with the starting material, and then for my product, I'm going to put in just a few drops. You know, you need about, I don't know, 60 milligrams, 50, 60 milligrams, and just about, just under a milliliter of the solvent. So we are using chloroform D. So this is deuterated chloroform. My starting material, I want to make sure it has dissolved. Okay, that looks good. So now I can transfer. Okay, not sure how to help you see this. So I'm going to draw up my sample out of the test tube and put it right into the NMR tube. So we have our NMR samples ready, and we are going to go downstairs to the first floor and run some NMRs. Now we're in the NMR room, and that's the NMR. And actually, this is not just a printer stand. This is the actual console that runs the NMR. And we are going to enter all of the commands in here. But the sample gets put into the NMR. So that has a magnet that is supercooled by liquid helium, which is then cooled by liquid nitrogen. And then we put the sample into a spinner to make sure that it has the right weight and everything. And then we put it into the auto sampler rack. And then when we tell the system to go, it will pull up the sample. It will slide it over and then insert it in that sort of copper colored, the circle inside there. That brings the sample down into the probe. And so that's how we are going to run the NMR. So the computer controls the radio signals, the pulses of energy, and then the software will do the Fourier transform, so that what we will get will be a lovely NMR spectrum. So to get our samples ready, we need to use a spinner, and we need to test it in the depth gauge, and we need to wipe off all of our grimy fingerprints. Here is the NMR tube in the spinner, in the depth gauge, and so that's all set to be put into the auto sampler. There's other samples in here, but ours are in number 11 and 12. 11 is the starting material and 12 is the product. Using the auto sampler, I have it in 11 and 12, and I put in a title for it, the structure determination, starting material, and product. We put in the solvent, CdCl3. The experiment, I'm using the unknown experiment just because that way I can do the processing that I need. So I'm going to highlight both of these and then click submit. And now the auto sampler's thinking. It spins it around to get to our sample. Okay, so I just turned the NMR again, so sometimes it's a little bit picky. So finally got back to 11. Now it's drawing up the sample, and it slides it over, And then see the cap on top, and it's gone because it's now being inserted into the instrument. And if we come back over here, it's gonna show us some flashing lights. It's gonna start to tell us some information about what it's doing. It'll show us what's the status with the sample, is it locking, all that stuff.